Hey everyone, welcome back to Money with Mission. Today we have a different program today, a little bit different. We are still talking about money and prosperity, but in a little different way. Today I have Allyson Chavez. Allyson is a prosperity transformation coach for ambitious, God-centered men and women. She teaches others how to manage their thoughts and energy so they can get out of their own way, no longer living in doubt or overwhelm, consistently hit their targets, and love their life as they go. She's a sought-after speaker on the topics of mindset, prosperity, universal laws, and success. She is the best-selling author of The Prosperity Approach. Her work has been featured on CBS, NBC, ABC, Fox, and hundreds of nationally syndicated television, newspaper, and magazine outlets. Allyson believes that the challenge is necessary on the journey to success. The struggle, however, is not. Her mission is to end the struggle and bring joy to the worlds of 1 million women and men. Welcome to the show, Allyson.
Be the change you want to see. Make a difference by giving your money a purpose, a mission to do good. Welcome to Money with Mission, where we show you how to create passive income so that you have options for how to work and how to live your life while leaving a legacy of positive social impact.
Hey, Allyson, I'm pretty excited to have you here on the show. I've introduced you and I let the folks know that this is going to be a little bit different kind of conversation. So hopefully everyone's ready for this one.
That's right. And Felecia, thank you so much for having me on. I've been so excited to reconnect with you and also to have this conversation with you and share it with your audience.
I'm excited too. Allyson and I met not too long ago, and we just really hit it off because one of the things we are both passionate about is working with women and helping women reach our full potential, whether it's financially, spiritually, in whatever aspect of our lives we're looking to go. And we work at it a little bit differently, but the joint way is going to get us there the fastest. So Allyson, my first question for you is, talk about your money journey from your childhood even to where you are today and how you thought about money when you were younger. And if you want to start it when you started business, you can, but before today, how you thought about money and how you think about it today.
Well, I could sum it up in 2 words: lack, scarcity. That's how I thought about money. That's how I was raised with money. Thankfully, we were very blessed in that, I never went to bed hungry unless I was doing it on purpose because I thought I needed to lose weight or something. We were never where's the next meal going to come from? I wore hand-me-downs, but, I never lived in a car or anything like that. But the prevailing idea around money was that there was never enough. And in fact, I remember watching my dad do taxes, and this was back before computers and things when I was very young. And I could just feel him just, the burden of that. And he would say, easy come, easy go. But it sure didn't feel like it was easy come. It felt like it was really easy go, but not easy come. And so that's what I was raised with. And I think most people are raised with lack and scarcity, regardless of how much money they have at their disposal. When I was in my early 20s, I really was interested in mindset and the human potential and subconscious beliefs. That just really grabbed me when I was in my early 20s. And I have always had an entrepreneurial mind. And I started building up my own business, and I did it in lack and scarcity. And it was so hard. Oh my goodness, Felecia. It was when I moved out of the first company, I was in a direct selling company, and that was such a blessing until I outgrew it. And then God had a bigger idea in mind for me, and I had no idea what it was supposed to look like, but I was up for it. I was like, all right, and show me what we're going to do. And it was building a business online. It was really about mindset. It was really about human potential and all of those things. And so I began to build my company the way that I'd been taught, with a lot of hustle, a lot of grind, a whole lot of grit. Shoestring budget for sure. So I had to wear all of the different hats. But what I realized was not understanding how money actually works, aside from budgets and aside, from all of the tactical parts of money, but energetically and spiritually, and how to actually get money to flow. I didn't have an understanding of that when I first grew my business. And so I made it a whole lot harder than it needed to be. I was always future tripping. What happens if we run out of money? Then what are we going to do? And there was always this fear as I was building. And it, for me, it presented as just gut-wrenching anxiety. I choked on it all day. I couldn't sleep at night. I was overeating to try to, compensate for feeling so uncomfortable where money was concerned. And I think I did what a whole lot of women do when you're afraid of success and when money starts coming, it actually triggers greater insecurity in us as women. And rather than feeling like, oh, now I'm successful. Oh, now I've got it. Now I've got enough, because I was taught that there is never enough. So I'd actually set these milestones and I'm like, okay, as soon as I've made this much money in a month, then I'll feel safe. Then I'll feel like enough. Then I'll feel successful. And I would hit that and I would still feel insecure and I would still feel like I'm not doing enough. So I would double it and then I'd reach it. And I just started chasing. And it got to a point, Felecia, where there was such a high inner price that I was paying. I mean, we were making 20 grand, 30 grand a month. We never made that kind of money before in my family, certainly not growing up. But I still couldn't sleep. I was still afraid. Now I was afraid, oh crap, what if I lose it now? I was afraid that I wouldn't have enough and now I had plenty. And now I was afraid that I was going to lose it. And actually, because of the power of my thoughts and the power of the fear of losing it, that's actually exactly what happened. And the business started to fail. So I started to hustle more. And the more I hustled, the faster it fell. And it ended in a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, quite honestly. We had a 2.5-year financial freefall. And that was intense. I will tell you that. That was intense. And when the dust finally settled, I put the beat up stick of not enoughness down. And I thought, oh, good heavens, I created this. And I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
I wonder if I can create my way out of it.
I do something different. Yes.
Yeah.
So many things you just talked about. Number one, I also had the same build up, drop down financially, and the same kind of this. How did we do this? I don't understand this. What happened? Maybe somebody's going to find out that I don't know what I'm doing. How many of us have that? And then they're going to stop paying me for this. I mean, they're going to figure out that I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Okay. I went to school for 100 years and yes, I've been doing it for, and I mean, this is even still in medicine. I was talking about real estate at first and the downfall, but in medicine, I know so many women who are so good at what they do and worry that they think somebody's going to find out that I really don't know what the heck I'm talking about. That whole, oh my gosh. And back to the hustle and grind of now I got to work harder and harder and harder so nobody finds out that I don't know what I'm doing. And the toll it takes physiologically. I know you've done some work with that on our bodies and what we end up becoming. Talk about that a little bit. Let's get into some of that. Because I know that there's women out here that we start talking about feminine energy and masculine energy, they're going to kind of tune out. We're going to get there though, you guys. But we're getting you tuned in first, okay?
Yes. It's fascinating. In fact, we were talking before the recording started. We're like, let's not talk woo. And I'm like, well, maybe just a little bit. Maybe just a little, we'll have a little bit of sparkle. This is backed up by science, is backed up by research, is backed up by data, because we live in a society that has masculinized women. And so we don't trust feminine energy. We only understand masculine energy, which is the push, it's the hustle, it's the grind. But here's an interesting thing about women, to speak into your point just a bit ago, Felecia, when you were saying, oh no, they're going to find out that I don't actually know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm talking about. And it doesn't matter how much education we have as women. We kind of come factory installed with this fear of not enoughness and this fear of not being good enough. And it actually is a blessing, because for us driven women, we want to learn more. We want to hone our skills. We want to be the best at our craft. But if we always have this, oh no, I'm going to be found out, it's that imposter syndrome that women have a whole lot more than men have. And so we have this proving energy that we get into, and this chasing energy, which is also masculine energy, which serves men really, really well. They thrive under pressure. Women do not thrive under pleasure. And so just to give you just basic physiology about this, when we're in masculine energy, we're in a whole lot of testosterone. And testosterone is that push energy. It's the production. It's get stuff done. And everybody has testosterone. Well, women produce testosterone in two places. It comes from our ovaries and it comes from our adrenal gland. So if we are in testosterone, we're actually getting a hit of adrenaline, when we're in the testosterone as well. So adrenaline becomes like that fight or flight chemical that's going in our bodies. And then we're feeling stress and then we're feeling pressure, which then releases cortisol. So now we've got testosterone, we've got cortisol, we've got adrenaline, these fight or flight chemicals that are just flooding our body. And what happens is our organs start marinating in that over time. Mm-hmm. And it literally kills us softly. It kills us from the inside out. But long before we're in adrenal fatigue or adrenal blowout, which by the way, that happens in women so much more than it happens in men, that adrenal fatigue and the adrenal blowout, long before that happens, we're robbed of our essence. We're robbed of our radiance. Like that inner glow that women have when we're in too much masculine energy and too much of those masculine hormones and chemicals, our light goes out. And we're not fun to be around, quite honestly.
No. So, I know a lot of women, me being one of them, I'm better than I was, that lived in that fight or flight, cortisol, testosterone driven world. And I never knew. How can you know that that's where you are if that's all you've known?
Oh, that's such a great question. So when a woman is in survival, when we're in those survival chemicals, we are actually clenching. We're in constriction. So anytime you feel tense, you're in those chemicals. You're in survival. Anytime you're holding your breath, or anytime your breathing is really shallow, that's your body telling you, hey, we're in survival mode here. We're not actually accessing that part of our brain that's super resourceful. So we need to get out of that. One of the fastest ways to get out of that is just to start breathing. Deep, intentional, cleansing breaths. And it sounds, I mean, everybody knows this, right? I'm not giving anybody mind-blowing information, but how often do we actually do that?
Oh, we do it. Exactly. How often do you do it?
Yes. We don't. We're like, we don't have time for this. We don't have time for this.
And I'm going to just point to the women surgeons out there. Think about when you're in a case, you're doing a surgery and there's something happened. Something's bleeding you didn't expect. What's the first thing you do? Put something on the thing so it stops bleeding and you take a deep breath. Everybody gets the chance to compose themselves so we can then fix this problem. And that's what Allyson's talking about. Mm-hmm. Just take a moment. Oh my gosh. Your brain's running. Wherever you are, you're not necessarily, nobody's bleeding in a surgery, but you're running around town doing whatever. And you don't know what to do. Like, I don't know. I'm lost. I don't know. Take a breath. Number one. Step one, take a deep breath.
Step one, take a nice deep breath. We're also addicted to dopamine in this society. And dopamine is also another masculine hormone that is associated with performance and associated with accomplishment. It's why we are run ragged by our to-do lists. I don't know how many can relate to this, but I used to write things on my to-do list, like take a shower, even though I knew I was going to take a shower that day, just so I could check it off.
You can take it off?
Right, because we get these dopamine hits of things that are accomplished. But here's the thing, get addicted to dopamine, and dopamine is actually an oxytocin inhibitor. And oxytocin is the queen of all the hormones. If your hormones are out of balance, oxytocin will actually balance out all your hormones. And oxytocin is also known as the cuddle hormone. It's the connection hormone. But we can't get oxytocin when we're just running around here, check, because it actually takes some time. We get oxytocin when we're hugging someone, and we got to be in it for like 30 seconds in order for that hormone to start releasing.
That's a long hug, you guys. 30 seconds is a long hug.
It sometimes is, isn't it? Like, and we're counting 1, 2, 3. Can we get this faster? Can we do this faster? But there's a lot of things that you can do. Looking at pictures of babies or listening to babies laughing. Or people love cat videos or little puppy videos because that actually releases oxytocin as well. If you'll just breathe and get into your body and just start appreciating your body, appreciating your brain, appreciating the difference you make in this world, whether it's personally, professionally, and everywhere in between, and just like being present in the moment, that will release oxytocin. And I love to start my day in that hormone, in oxytocin, rather than like get up and get into that dopamine. I call that the difference between the feminine and the masculine. And we want to live in our feminine and let masculine support. And that's how it looks, is starting it in the morning and then tapping in your masculine throughout the day.
It sounded like you were saying gratitude. Get into gratitude.
Yeah.
Is that where you were going with that? Being present. You have to, me, be present to even know what you're grateful for. Because that's sometimes I'm like, I got nothing. Okay, I have a house. Okay, great. I have something to eat. Okay, great. And then you start really getting into it. And I mean, I have to come to myself to get there. It really is a centering thing, I'm going to call it. When somebody first told me you need to get in your body, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. So I'm going to assume that people don't know what they're talking about. Like, what do you mean? I'm in my body all the time.
Yeah, no, actually, you're not.
No,
you're in your head.
no.
If things are really noisy and your mind is going, you're in your head. When you drop into your body, it actually feels quiet. It feels quiet in your body. It feels more spacious in your body. And I used to do gratitude really masculine, meaning I would list it. And then I would be like, dude, and just like you said, I got a house, great. I got food, great. And I wasn't feeling it at all. And I actually had somebody have a one-word question that changed everything for gratitude for me. She said, you ask why. You just ask why. I'm grateful for my house. Why? Because it's warm inside. It's temperature controlled. And in that moment, I've just put myself in my body, in the present, in my home, connecting to it.
Nice.
Instead of just boom, 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 and not actually feeling it.
I like that. That will help me too, because I have been the gratitude list. Okay, I'm done with that. Check that off my to-do list.
Yeah, dopamine, masculine. And everybody knows, like, consciously, and we know intellectually that gratitude is really, really powerful. But I used to be like, I'm one of the most grateful people I know, but why is life falling apart all the time? And why don't I actually feel grateful? Oh, because I wasn't using gratitude in the way that would actually connect me to the feeling of gratitude. Gratitude to me is the quintessential of feminine energy, because gratitude is a receiving energy. And feminine is a receiving energy. Masculine is the giving energy. And so if I am so grateful for this food that I'm eating, that's an indication I'm receiving it. I love how it tastes. I love the temperature of it. I love that when I'm thirsty, I literally have water an arm's length away all the time. And I can quench my thirst anytime I want. And why am I grateful for that? Because I'm thirsty right now. And so many people in the world don't have clean drinking water. And I have it, and I don't even think about it. I take it for granted all the time. But that's receiving. That puts you into feminine. That puts you in your body. That puts you in present. And that actually helps you. It helps you to see problems or solutions faster. It helps you get projects done faster and in the right energy when you'll just implement gratitude in the way that we're meant to experience it, which is in that receiving energy.
Okay, so I'm going to go to basics here. And let's talk about, what do you mean when you say feminine energy? And you're going to have to work with the energy part as well as the feminine part, as well as masculine energy. So I can feel my girlfriends out there, my fellow surgeons out there going, what the F are you talking about?
It's just like, she bring on the show today. So, and I get that. Absolutely. So I'm talking about energies of creation. And there are two energies of creation, feminine energy and masculine energy. It has nothing to do with gender roles. It has nothing to do with stereotypes, has nothing to do with battle of the sexes. Everybody has both of these energies of creation that we're just wired. They just come wired in us. Some of us are more naturally feminine and some of us more naturally masculine, whether we're men or whether we're women. But these energies, yes.
Real quick question. Yeah. In our energies, you meant more naturally feminine energy or more naturally masculine energy? And then my question is this energy measurable? Can I go somewhere and find out that feminine energy is at this hertz and masculine energy is at that hertz? Or is this something a little less?
That's such a great question. And in full transparency, I have never measured it in hertz before, but you've just given me some really great homework. So I will research that and let you know. You can, they definitely, it's measurable and how it shows up in your body if you're aware of it. So can you measure it? Absolutely, you can. And you can get a read on whether you are in too much feminine or whether you're in too much masculine within your own body. So these energies are meant to work together in balance and in alliance. And we live in a society that honors and rewards masculine energy. Masculine is production, achievement all the time. Feminine energy is being, receiving. And I know that your medical women out there are like, what even is that? Because I was that way as well. I was all about, all right, let's get this thing done. Let's achieve it. All right, let's move on. And I didn't even know how to celebrate, right? All I knew is that the higher the goals I hit, the less fulfilled I felt, even though I was supposed to feel more fulfilled as I lived a bigger life. Right. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. It was because I was sacrificing my essence, my being, my ability to receive on the altar of let's be more productive and let's achieve more. So the being energy is that essence. It's your spark. It's your radiance. It's the way that you're feeling towards something. So playful. And the F word that so many women are scared of, flirty. And flirty is just being playful. That's playful with no strings attached. It's enjoying the moment that you're in rather than being like, can we just skip to the end? Can we just get to the result here? It's really loving that. And when you can start in gratitude, when you can start in meditation, when you can start in receiving, that's the only purpose of meditation, is to put your body into the receiving mode. It's why they want you just to listen to like music and then breathe, but give your mind something to do. So you count the breaths, or you breathe in a word and breathe out a word, so that your masculine mind will have something to hold on to while you're in that. But it's really to put you into receiving. Because when you're in the receiving mode, ideas can come to you instead of you trying to claw your way to the ideas. The connections will come to you. The relationships will come to you because you're in this place. Receiving just means to experience. That's what receiving means. So you put your body in a place where it can experience relationships and transformation and wealth and prosperity and the magic of life, even as you are honing your craft, even as you are expanding your education and you're going to work and you're working with patients and you're writing papers and things like that. But when you're doing it for a higher cause, for lack of a better phrase, it makes your work more powerful. It makes solutions easier to find, and it helps you fall back in love with life again.
It's very, very good. And then so many things.
I know.
It's about Dr. Janice Warden on. She was on last week, whatever, I don't know. One of the episodes, you guys, not too long ago. And she talked about how women's brains do not turn off. A man, you can ask a man what he's doing. He says nothing. What are you thinking about? He says nothing. And you get irritated, and it's because he can really not be thinking about anything. And she went to how women's brains, just the way we're put together, cannot do that. We are always got something going on from one side to the other, left, right, everything. We can't turn it off. So when you talked about the meditation, and she actually brought up meditation also. So you guys, I've had this is a theme for us now. You're getting me. Okay? Yeah. It is about not necessarily turning your brain off, but like you said, giving it something to do so that you can receive. And the receiving part gets it feels a little woo-woo. I know it does, you guys. I really, really, really get it. But don't think about receiving as getting something physical necessarily. Receiving is hearing the answer, getting what you're going to do with that person that just was in your office and you're like, I don't know what the heck is wrong with you, and I don't know what I'm going to do for you. Being in that receiving mode and not in the, let me go, yes, you have to have the knowledge that we have. We have to. I don't even know what the heck that thing is. Let me go look it up. Now, what are we going to do? What's going to be the best thing for him? That's the receiving mode. So I'm trying to help you understand that it's not just woo-woo, and Allyson's not here just talking about the women who stay at home. Allyson has built a business and helps take care of them. This is not just about, I don't even know the word, care of in the June Beaver, leave it to Beaver, whatever. No, it's not that.
No, are you kidding me? Because I don't need anybody to save me. And I have 4 children, and I had the privilege of being able to stay home with them as I built my business to raise them as well. But we are ambitious women. We are driven, and we belong in medicine. We belong in the legal world. We belong in business, but we can't do it like men anymore. We're not meant to. We can't afford to. one of the things, and I think this will be helpful for your women with meditation, put yourself in the receiving mode. What do you want to experience throughout the day? So if I'm in meditation, I want to experience flow, which means I'm not like, like when you feel like you're being ripped from one task to do another task and you're like, you got to refocus all the time. That takes an enormous amount of energy for us as women because of the way our brains are wired. So what I want to do is I want to be able to just flow really beautifully from one task to the next without feeling like this fit and start all day long. So that's what I mean by receiving. Like, what do you want to experience throughout the day? Do you want to experience inspiration? Have you got a hard case and you want to experience inspiration where the answers and the genius is just trickling down on you instead of you feeling like you have to like spelunkle for it or you got to claw your way to it? When you're in the receiving energy and the feminine energy, those things can come to you so much faster and so much easier because you're open to it.
Talk about, and just now we're back in the male, female professional world, women attorneys, female physicians. We're in a room where we may be the only woman in the room, or there may be two of us and there's 10, 15 men. And we're in these conversations. We're trying to figure out how something's going to run. And I don't know if you've been in this, if you've experienced this, but I've experienced being in those rooms and saying something. Nobody heard me. A guy says the very same thing I just said. And wow, that's a great idea. How do we, and that would irritate the out of me. I never knew I still don't know how to deal with that. How does that play a role in what we're talking about? Or does it?
It does. It plays a huge role. And it's all about our own presence. So women have been taught for thousands of years to take a back seat to men. And if men are at the table, we push back from the table. And this goes for 10,000 years ago when we were hunter-gatherers and men had the mission and we stayed home and gathered, right? That is part of how our brains are wired, but we were actually taught to be people pleasers because we are the smaller, weaker sex physically. And 10,000 years ago, if we didn't please the elders, they had the power to kick us out of the tribe, and which meant certain death. And so even though we know we're capable, we are independent, we are smarter than most of the men who are there, like we can do that, but we haven't been taught to own our space. We have been taught to claim our space. And so we feel like there's a part of us that feels like we still have to ask permission. And so it really is just this decision that you don't have to prove your space at the table. You've already earned your place at the table. And it's an intention that your voice can be heard and your voice is respected among men without putting anybody else down, because I know in the business world and things, if a man is direct, then he is, he's a leader. And if a woman is direct, she's kind of bitchy, right? Yeah. But I have to have that kind of air about us. It's just, I'm not here to prove anything to anyone because I've already paid my dues. So it really is just a decision that we make as women that we're already enough and that we can be in collaboration with our male counterparts rather than in competition with them.
You just threw out that word collaboration, and that word came to my mind when we were talking about oxytocin. And is oxytocin that hormone that helps us to collaborate? And then I'm going to go ahead and then also go ahead and give me your definition of collaboration, because I have mine. I want to make sure we're on the same page and that everybody else is on the same page of what collaboration is, because often we think cooperation and collaboration are the same thing. So
I didn't even think about cooperation with collaboration. To me, collaboration is a relationship where you are bringing your gifts and talents and skills. They're bringing their gifts and talents and skills. And with the relationship that you're forming, what can we do together for this end goal? To me, that's what collaboration is. And it goes much deeper than cooperation for me, quite honestly, because it's built on relationship. And it's built on giving and receiving and both partners being equal in different ways to whatever it is that you're wanting to create together. It's partnership.
Yes. And that creation may be something that neither one of you could have done alone. That's the collaboration part. Cooperation is maybe, they're a little bit challenging sometimes. And I've looked at this collaboration and we talked about how it's a group of people that come together to come up with something that none of them would have come up on their own, right? We're not necessarily... You and I can cooperate and put together a podcast. We get together, we talk about it, we're going to do a podcast. we could also get together and say, hey, we want to reach women and we don't know how we're going to do that. And then in our collaboration, we come up with a way that neither one of us would have come up with on our own to get to the place we want to be. That's ultimate feminine to me. Ultimate feminine energy is where we're just in this thing and I love it so much.
And it feeds our soul. It feeds our soul. So the primary function of feminine energy is desire. And the primary function of masculine energy is the production of that desire or giving that desire structure or form. So if we will lead with our desire, which is, the collaboration is let's create something that I can't create on my own, or maybe has never been created before, but let's do this in partnership and in relationship with each other, then we're leading in the feminine, we're leading with the desire. And then the structure comes with the podcast, or let's do an event together, or whatever it is that we decide to create together. When we've got, what does Napoleon Hill teach? That if you've got two people that are like-minded, you create like this third brain, right? And then it's the genius consciousness that we both get to tap into and take advantage of. And then this mastermind becomes so powerful. Like that's collaboration, and that's feminine.
That's feminine. I want to make sure everybody heard that. That's feminine. You and I have also talked about money and whether money is masculine or feminine. And we were at a program together recently where some of the guys didn't really understand, and they felt like if you want more money, you must be more masculine. Talk about that a little bit.
No, money actually follows feminine energy. It does not follow masculine energy. Remember, masculine energy is just the structure. It's the form. Automation's important. Systemization is important. We want to dig a trench for the money to fall into, right? But the money doesn't just fall into a trench. Like, you got to dig it, and there's a reason for the trench. So money likes flow. Money is not meant to be hoarded. It's honestly not meant to be saved. It wants purpose. And the only purpose money is here to serve is to lend in our expansion and our creation and fuller expression. It's a universal law. This universe is one of expansion. And we will always be called upon as humans to expand. It's why we can't hit one goal and then just stay there at that goal for very long without setting another goal. Then we get restless. We start feeling depressed. We start feeling discouraged. We feel like we've lost our purpose, because we're here to expand, and money is here to assist us in our expansion. That's why money follows feminine energy and not masculine energy. Both are important, but if you have to do one over the other, I would go to feminine. I go to feminine first, because it's your desire. It's you connecting to your potential. It's you connecting to your dreams. And what do you want the money for? Like, I want to 10x this company, and that's my mission, is to 10x this company, make a bigger difference, make a bigger impact. But it's not so that I can see 10 million in my account or whatever that is. It's what I can trade that money for. It's experiences. It's conversations like this. It's travel with my family. It's healing. It's help. It's all of those things that keep me resourceful and out of survival. And so money follows feminine.
Money flows. We talk about financial advisors and wealth advisors and those kind of people, and often we go there and they ask you how much you want, which is a very, correct me if I'm wrong, masculine question, masculine energy question.
It is.
I just had a conversation this morning with a woman who told me what she wanted, and we talked. So it was more her conversation, and she was in the, how much do I need to do this? And I'm like, well, what are you wanting to do? What do you want this money for? She came in, I want enough money to blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, what do you want it for? And when we started talking about her why she wanted this, why she didn't want to have to worry about her debt when she retired, why she didn't want to, it was the fuel to get us into a better, more lively conversation. Neither one of us knows how it's going to happen, and we don't have to know how. That's the thing. One thing we get caught up in is, well, how are you going to do that? Like, I don't know. I don't know yet. I don't know. That's not receiving.
No,
Does
it's
this make
not.
sense to you guys?
And
Does
this
this
is
make
why,
sense?
and this is why I love what you do, and I love your approach, because you don't go into like, how much do we have to scrimp and save over the next 20 years? How much do we have to deprive you of, and how much scarcity we have to go into now so that eventually you'll be able to enjoy it? Because what's happened is people have been taught that, and now they have their multiple $1 million nest egg and they won't spend it.
They don't.
And they still live in lack and scarcity. So I love that you get people attached to their why. Because there's the saying that if the why is big enough, the how doesn't matter. If your dream and your desire is big enough, we don't need to know the how. The how is the structure. The how is the masculine. That will come as we go. See, we lead with feminine. We let masculine support, and it always comes. And it comes in really natural ways. Somebody just comes across your path. You're having a natural conversation, and then boom, somebody just mentioned something, and now you're connected to a strategy, or you're connected to another person who has what you're going after, so you can talk with them. Do you see how powerful the feminine is?
That example was so good. So good. I see it. I'm like, I was still struggling a little bit with it, Allyson. I'm going to admit, I was still struggling, but okay. The desire and the structure, that I get it now.
Yeah.
I don't know if we need to talk about it some more because
we can. And we'd get there eventually. So here's the difference between feminine and masculine. Feminine is dynamic and it's circular in nature. If you were to look at these two energies, feminine goes like this and then it goes everywhere. It's very dynamic, which means it sit still and it doesn't go in a straight line. That's why women, we can't just hone in on one thing. Our minds are always going because we're dynamic and we're feminine. Masculine is linear. It's very linear. A to B to C to D. So I knew we'd get there eventually, but I thought, we're going to let the feminine take us on a really beautiful journey. And boom, here we are.
Here we are. So, ladies, you know those guys you work with who can only do one thing at a time? That's what it is. It's not something wrong with them. That's how they're made. That's how they're made. Don't give them 12 things at once.
No. And you know what? I used to think my husband was the biggest jackhole for this because I would give him like this verbal list of things to do and he'd get one thing done. And I'm like, are you just the laziest man on like, what is your problem? And then we have 4 kids. We have 3 boys and a girl. And men have what's called single focus. That's how their brains are wired. I have a mission and there's the mission. And once the mission is done, then I can get another mission. When my oldest son was 11, I remember giving him a list of chores to do. It was the kitchen, right? This is what I need done in the kitchen. So first we got to get the dishes out of the sink. We got to get him in the dishwasher. The counters need to be wiped off. You need to get the stove wiped out. The microwave's a mess. And I watched his eyes fill with panic. And he said, Mom, I can't remember after the second thing you told me. And I'm really sorry. And he really wanted to please me because that's also a characteristic of masculine. Masculine is divinely designed not only to serve feminine, but to please feminine. Mm-hmm. And masculine energy is divinely designed to inspire masculine. So he wanted to please me, but I set him up for failure because he couldn't follow me. And I didn't believe my husband until that experience with my 11-year-old. And so I have since apologized to my husband for the way that I treated him because I thought that he was just being insensitive or being a big jerk. And single focus, it's a real thing. Women have what's called diffused awareness. And that's why we're really good multitaskers. But it doesn't mean that we focus on a lot of things at once. It means we don't have any focus. I'm going to say that again. It means we don't have any focus
in your feminine energy,
in the way our brains are wired.
Okay.
We have diffused awareness. It means we're aware of everything in our surroundings. And everything in our surroundings talks to us and it criticizes us and it tells us we're not good enough. It's why men can live in filth and not even, for the most part, I know I'm generalizing here because there's plenty of women who will live in filth as well, but like my boys, I'm just like, why are you walking over the blanket instead of picking up the blanket and taking it with you to your room? Because that wasn't the mission, right? But for weeks, I'm here like, what is this blanket gonna get picked up? Or the crumbs on the counter that just yell at me all the time, or stickiness or whatever. It's because of diffused awareness. It's why we'll have a billion tabs open on our computer screen, right? And then we'll go over here.
Are you looking at my computer? Are you looking at my computer or something?
I'm thinking of my own. And we call it ADHD, but I think more often than not, it's just we don't understand what diffused awareness is. Not that ADHD isn't a thing for women, but I think that if women understood more about how our brains are wired, we would be more gentle with ourselves, that we get off track so easily. I'll walk into the kitchen for something, but then something will distract me. And then I'm like, why am I here? Oh, yeah, because I'm hungry. And so it was working with that instead of against it. Now,
my days are, go ahead.
It doesn't mean that women cannot be single focused, but it
Yes.
takes an enormous amount of energy for us to be single focused. It's why if we're on a project for 7 hours and we're done with a day, our brain is mush and we're like good for nothing for the rest of the night. And we have to sleep in order to restore.
Yeah.
Because we're not meant to be in single focus for that long. That's why we need to take little breaks to get back into our body. Then we've got fresh eyes. Then we can focus. Then we can get those solutions so much faster. And I'm going to go woo here for just a second, but this is how you bend time and space. You do it in your feminine energy. When you're more in your body and you take those regular breaks to either get a drink or use the bathroom, move your body in 45 seconds, turn on some music, move your hips, just get back into your body. You can come back on the project and that thing that was eluding you, suddenly it's just like right there. And then you collapse the amount of time it takes to do a task, or you expand the amount of time so that you're getting more done in less time. So there's actually, it's not woo at all. It's really practical. You just have to know how to do it. And it's done.
So you're saying that sitting at your desk for hours and hours and hours trying to get something done is actually not efficient.
It is not efficient for us as women.
For women.
It's not.
For women. Okay. The other thing I was thinking while you were talking about that and women not being single focused, at first I was thinking, well, we're very focused when we're doing surgery. And then I think about my colleagues, my male colleagues, and they're much more focused on the thing. And I've watched it. We can see what the scrub tech is doing. We can know what the anesthesiologist is doing. We know where all the instruments are on the table. I mean, this just makes, okay.
Yes, that is diffused awareness. And we got this 30,000 years ago when the hunters were out hunting and we went to the meadow. I learned this from Allyson Armstrong. We go to the meadow. We have to be aware of our surroundings. We don't know if those berries over there are poisonous or not. We don't know if that little critter that's coming across our path is going to bite us and kill us or if it's safe. So we have to be completely aware of our surroundings. And that is still in our DNA today.
Wow. Allyson, this is good. This is really good. You guys listen again.
Like it's real.
Please don't shut it off because this is real stuff. And if you really listen and think about how you function in the world and how you feel, I think this is going to hit home for you. I really do. And the more we can be in our feminine energies, receiving and not striving. It's not about not striving, but it's striving in a different way, I think. Is that the right way to say it?
Yes. I call it quantum leaping in ease and flow. So it's not just about the feel goods because we're ambitious, we're driven. We want to add a zero to our bottom line. We would love that. We want to have vibrant health. We want to have deep, intimate relationships with the people that are the most important to us. We want to feel that connection with God or the eternal or whatever your vocabulary is for that. And when you will lead with your feminine and let masculine support, we're not vilifying masculine. That's a very important energy. You got to learn how to work with both of them together. But when you do that, you will launch yourself into the stratosphere financially, in your physical health, in your faith, and with your family. So you'll get phenomenal outward results without sacrificing your identity, your essence, your zest, and your love for life.
Nice. How do you help us do this in a deeper way? I don't know how long we've been talking today, but this is the beginning, you guys, not the end. This is a process. I'm telling you, since I've not been practicing full time, it's been a very, very difficult process to me, getting easier and easier and easier because you just get so used to doing.
Yes.
Shoulders up, get it done, just get it done, just get it done. And now I can relax a little bit more often. I got people like Allyson in my life tell me, put your shoulders down.
Like take a breath and just sparkle. Like this beautiful sparkle you have all day, this whole interview. It's been remarkable. So, and you're right. We've just barely scratched the surface because we live in a society that rewards masculine and actually vilifies feminine. And so there's unconditioning that needs to happen. There's healing that needs to happen, but can happen faster than you would believe. So I actually have a free masterclass called The Energies of Success where I break this down in that masterclass. I have I think it's a beautiful retreat called The Feminine Factor. We do it in a 5-star hotel so you can get into that luxury and that opulence, let somebody else take care of you for once instead of you always taking care of everything. And it's called The Feminine Factor, and I do it a couple of times a year. And it's just for women. It's just for us to help us understand more of each other. Like, we're super powerful, so we wear our armor, and we need to take our armor off and understand the superpower of vulnerability and how it actually works for us as women. And that'll grow your business. That'll heal your family. Just by healing you, you'll heal the whole planet.
Oh my gosh, we can get into healing the whole planet. Vulnerability, that whole word is very scary to me. Since I've become more vulnerable, I cry way more than I think I should. And it's like, God damn this feminine energy.
Well, you know what I have done to make it a little bit safer for us powerful women to feel safe crying? I'm like, you know what? We just need to release energy, because that's all it is. It's just energy. And sometimes it needs to come out our eyes. And so we'll just let it come out our eyes, and we'll let it run out our nose, and we'll just release it, and we'll feel so much better.
Yes. And I've gotten there. I have gotten there. First it was like, and you said something else, and you guys, we could keep talking. I'm just telling you. I was listening to something else you were talking about, and you talked about how women can hear a friend cry and not feel the need to fix something. Whereas if your husband or a man sees a woman crying, he's ready to jump in and take action. What is that? Explain that a little bit more.
That's the being energy versus the doing energy. Men are wired for action. They're wired to do. So if there's a problem that they don't know how to fix and a woman is crying, he's like, just stop it. Whatever is going on, just stop it. Fix it. Give her the solution. Give her a tissue. Hug her. And women, actually, the being energy is the essence. It's the space. So women can hold space for each other really beautifully. When somebody is having a come apart, where we just send them love, we can go still in that. We can go still and just be in the moment with them. It's one of the gifts that we have as women. But we're also taught to make them stop as well. Oh, let me hug you. Let me hug you. And actually what's going on is we're feeling uncomfortable because somebody is expressing some energy or emotion. And actually when you're touching somebody, it takes them out of that experience. And they're like, oh, just calm down, just calm down. So then we suck that emotion back up, and we suck that energy back into our body when it really just wants to leave. And too much of that stuffing, well, we know what happens. You're a surgeon, for crying out loud. Like, you see the physical effect that stress has on the body, and anger has on the body, and all of those unexpressed energies and emotions. But that's a tangent. Diffused awareness for the win. But women are really good in that being energy. We can hold that space. We can send love to whoever it is that's having that hard time. And that's one of our gifts that we have as women. That is really, really healing for that person to be able to process through whatever emotion it is that they're needing to process at that time.
I 100% believe it. Because this guy I'm talking to, I start crying. He goes, stop crying. Stop crying. I'm on the phone with a friend of mine yesterday who's crying, and it's just, she's trying to stop crying. It's like, just cry, let it out. This is you're following a hard situation you're going through. Cry.
It's like that. There's no crying in baseball. He's crying, sir. There is. When we're in the game, there's crying, and crying is beautiful, and crying is healing. But see how well we're trained? Women are trained to do. We're trained very well in doing. But when we'll lead with our being, it actually makes the doing that much more effective and more efficient as well.
Nice. Okay. So feminine factor, let's get back to that. It's a 2 or 3 day. How long is it?
Yep. It's a 2 day.
You guys, I'm going in May. I want to have some people coming with me.
Yes. And it's a powerful experience that is, I mean, we're not just going to wave our magic wand and sit cross-legged in our flowy robes and meditate. This is a value-packed event, and you're going to leave with greater understanding between how men are wired, how women are wired, how to actually get into partnership with each other. You're going to feel so much more love towards yourself, and understanding how you work and how feminine energy works, and how to actually use it in your life. You're going to leave with actionable steps as well.
That's key. How to use it in your life. Come on. So, and I can just feel all you women, physicians and lawyers and all of us linear thinkers who've been taught the linear ways. Like, what the heck, Froe? What are you talking about? Come in May. Let's play together. And you can talk about me if it doesn't turn out to be everything we're telling you it's going to be.
And I promise you'll understand it. You'll have a greater understanding of when to be linear and when to be more circular and spiral. Like it will make sense, I promise, because I'm as practical as you are and as pragmatic as you are. And so you will leave having that intellectual part of your brain tickled as well, I promise.
Nice. How else can we find you, Allyson? You wrote a book. It's right.
I did. I wrote a book called The Prosperity Approach. You can get that off Amazon. I also have a podcast of the same name. It's called The Prosperity Approach. And you can go to, if you want to get that free masterclass, it's at prosperityapproach.com/success. And you can get to know me a little bit better there as well. And gosh, I would love to connect with your audience more. I'm showing you off to my audience as well. I can't wait to have you on my podcast also because people need Felecia. They need your take on money that is not filled with lack. It's not filled with scarcity. It's all about abundance. It's all about prosperity and really helping women shift their mindset with that. I love your passion. Money with mission. Oh, love it.
You guys, I know everybody's doing 5 million things right now. Everything she just said about how to get to Allyson, her book, Feminine Factor, all those things are going to be in the show notes. So go there, click a button, buy something, go to the course, come to it with me in May. It's going to be so much fun.
Yes. And it's a write-off. It's a business write-off.
There you go. And I already feel the laughing. I feel like my stomach's going to be so sore from laughing with all of you. So we'll see you there. And I'll see you in between too. Thanks, Allyson, so much for being here. This was so good.
Thank you. What a pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
You've been listening to Money with Mission. There are projects happening right now where you can have a great financial return while positively affecting the lives of others. To learn more about our opportunities, go to moneywithmission.com.